Came out from under trees and in a low area. Let's just see if this recovers. See how it does. It's morning. It's late morning. It's 10:44 a.m. This is not good. This is not good for me to see this already. But I'm not going to make a determination all within the first 2 minutes of it going. We'll leave it on. I'll give it some time. If anybody's watching, since I can't watch this the entire time, so if anybody's watching, actually, please, if you see a freeze, if you see a hiccup in the video feed, the audio may not go totally, but if you see something in the video, you've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. I actually saw no reason for that to have problem. Unless it was that moment that my AT&T carrier that connection went to poor, and now it's still blinking out. Well, if you can put in the comments, put the time. I don't know if there's a timestamp. Oh, I could turn timestamps on. I guess I could turn timestamps on in the comments, then I would be able to get an idea. Well, I'm going on a windy road right now, and I see you there, Mark. You know the road I'm on, 408, so you know I'm going to be making a bunch of orientation changes. You also know that cell service out down this part of the road is not that great. It's going to get better as I keep going here, but I'm going to stay with it until I get to the next store. So I'm cruising along here at 35 miles per hour, no big deal. Could be because I'm on a bumpy road too. Well, let me listen. I don't know if this will. Yeah, when it picks up those vibrations. Yeah, when I have road vibrations, the audio is going to sound like crap. Well, let me listen. I don't know if this will. Okay, I'm going to stop for a minute. Yeah, when it picks up those vibrations. Okay, so you're going to hear a bunch of playbacks here going on. Yeah, when I have road vibrations, the audio is going to sound like crap. Well, let me listen. Okay, so I'm sitting still right now, and probably going to be pretty clear. Yeah, when it picks up those vibrations, so you're going to hear a bunch of playbacks here going on. Yeah, when I have road vibrations, the audio is going to sound like crap. Okay, I'm not worried about the audio right now, so I don't need to hear about the audio, because I know what it's going to do in certain cases. My objective here, if you read the description, you'll know what my objective is. One thing at a time. Like with a $300, and we'll talk about audio for just a second if you want to worry about that. I mean, I can spend $300 or $400 before next season and really do an audio system. Anybody want to contribute to that? Probably not. So we just have to go with what we got. Be done with it. Okay. I need to turn this audio down on playback because I don't want that going in there. Yeah, I'm using, I'll just talk about the audio since we're on that subject. I'm not going to work on the audio. I'm not going to touch that. I've got much bigger fish to fry right now. But remember that I am using audio from the integrated microphone on the computer. And anybody that's got a laptop and has driven down the road with one sitting on a somewhat hard surface, you know that things are going to shake around, bounce around, and move around, and vibrate, and all that stuff. Well, you're going to pick up all that. So, you know, that's a minor concern right now. And I mean, it's been like that since last year, not before that. It is what it is. I get on a smooth road, it's pretty good. At least I think. I've looked at a few of the playbacks, and you know, the good smooth road, it's fine. So let's not really go there today. That's not what today is all about. This is about, I'm not going to explain it. Just go read the description of what this is about today. Yeah, anybody watching? Yeah, TX Skywatcher is Mark Reed. He knows what I've got in here. He's been in this vehicle before. We have covered a lot of miles together in the past, and he knows the setup. He knows how things are in here, except for some of the latest things. But still, it is the way it is. I will be making a few stops on the road trip today. That's part of the purpose, is I can kill several birds with one stone, so to speak. I gotta go by the bank because I got a paycheck from one of my media clients, and I have at some point we'll have to get some fuel. Would like to know why this guy has been sitting here when any traffic was way down the road. So the other thing I have to watch is I need to watch my monitor on the on all the data connections. They're star rated, 3 stars max. They will go between a half a star, 1 star, 1.5 to 2.5 and 3. So I'm trying to glance over occasionally as well and look at that and see how that is performing. Because when we were having, when I was having all those major glitches, I would see that go down to 1 star, no stars. But let's just take AT&T for example. It would go to 1 star, and I'm looking at the device, the signal strength and everything on the device, and it's just as plush as it could be. So there's no reason for that to be dropping like that. There's no reason for the bonding system to be telling me that that connection's poor, when I know darn good and well it's not poor. I know it's good. They look like they're behaving pretty well. They're gonna stop and get me Dr. Pepper here at the local store. I'm not gonna buy $4.15, $4.18 a gallon for fuel. I'm not gonna buy that. free advertisement for rapid change oil containers. There it is. All right, so I'm going to be parked here for a moment, 2 or 3 minutes probably. You want to watch customers go in and out of the store? You can. One of them is going to be me. So just bear with me today. This is all test. Please read the description so you understand why I'm doing what I'm doing today. I shall return in a moment. That is not me walking through the camera frame. I've got blue shirt on today. Ah. All right. I've got my little bit of caffeine. Any messages I got on? Nope, I'm not on there. Everything's still holding steady. Here in a little bit, there's going to be a little bit of a test. Because I know I'm going to go through an area where at least AT&T, let's just put it bluntly, sucks. That's going to be a few minutes later. That's going to be after I make my stop at the bank. Maybe we'll see some silly drivers out here today, huh? Not a day goes by you don't see something that's idiotic. Just cruise along, no rush. No rush whatsoever. Verizon is 1.5 stars. The stream's not dropped. Okay, and that's what should happen. If one or two of the other connections, I'm only using 3 of the connections. I'm not going to double up the AT&T connections today. Verizon just went south. Do have that one on 5.8, yeah, and it came back pretty quick, and that's the good thing, is it came back. I don't think I saw a stream disruption during that process, so that's a plus. Just keep watching, keep monitoring. Lost something again. Verizon is acting weird today. Verizon keeps dropping out, but I've got full signal. Okay, well, the fact that Verizon did drop out a couple of times, that's okay. You know, land-based data is not a perfect world. I mean, Starlink's not a perfect world, but the fact is that I'm seeing the fluctuations on the quality of what I've got bonding and on each individual connection, and I can see that, unless I've just blinked and missed it, but I don't think there's been a stream interruption when one of my carriers went offline. Ever so briefly it went offline, and I don't think I saw a hiccup when that connection reestablished. And that's the point of the bonding too, is that it saves things. I mean, it's just, I know it's got to renegotiate, but it looks like it's renegotiating better now when a connection comes back in. When you lose one comes back in. Does that make sense? Well, I can tell you that I guess about the entire mileage today, just for testing this out, it's going to probably be in the neighborhood of maybe 50 to 60 miles. And like I said, in a few minutes, after I make this next stop, I'm going to be heading through an area where I know that service is really bad. And I'm going to see how it behaves through that little zone. Right now, I'm going to the bank. Always like going to the bank when I've got a little something to put in. So enjoy the shade. You're going to see me again. Oh, grab that. Grab that. I'm also waiting on a reply. Whether in the next town to the south, I'm gonna go eat some barbecue. But there is the town's fire station. If you want crawfish, you go to this place right here. It's called Crawfish Getaway. We doing okay? Apparently there's been no comments. If you see a freeze, I want to defroze and maybe put, you know, like if it freezes for 3 seconds or something, just kind of give me those little tidbit notes so that I can document all that. But again, this is a software fix test run out here today. And I'm going to get on a weather subject here after I get through this zone coming up ahead where I'm going to wonder, am I going to have a problem? What's that? Your brother. I know that's speech to text failure. Froze for 5 seconds at 11:09. Okay. That's not bad. I didn't see it. I didn't see it on my end, but I may not have been looking at the indicator at that moment. Okay, at 11:09, that's when I was between the buildings and I was making a right turn, I think. I was either coming out from the bank turning right, or I was turning right onto the highway between the buildings. So maybe we'll chalk that one up to location. All right, I am entering the zone where the and going under an underpass right there, of course, but AT&T and whatnot's AT&T's gonna go downhill here for 2 or 3 miles probably, and I'm seeing that AT&T has gone to no stars on the bond. The signal is 1 bar. You're not going to be able to stream with 1 bar. The question is the stream going to stay stable through here? Is AT&T is going to bounce around? Is the stream going to stay stable enough through here with all the other carriers, you know, picking up the load? Starlink, even if everything else went out, Starlink should take over all that and keep it pretty darn stable. I know one thing, Verizon worked real well through here. Yeah, Verizon is perfect through here. AT&T is not. Of course, Starlink is holding steady. Now, what has been happening in the past, I would see these quality of the connections and whatnot. I would see these indicators and they would be all good, and then all of a sudden they'd all go bad. So hopefully I'm on the right track here. Hopefully the engineers, the guys that have a heck of a lot more smartness than I do. Just had a brief Starlink hiccup there, but did the stream drop? I didn't see it. I didn't see it. Are we doing better now? Is it possible we're doing better? AT&T is still not back up where it's good. It's kind of in the poor range right now still. But it should come back here real quick based on my location. All right. This may be promising if the stream did not drop through there. Other than that, well, I only had the one hiccup on Starlink. I had AT&T go down to 1 bar, which it's doing again right now, but I'm going to come up this hill now and it should stabilize as well. If I didn't have a stream drop through there, I'm encouraged by this fix, without a doubt. It would indicate to me that this may be working the way it's supposed to be working. And I would love nothing more than to go home and send an email back to these guys and say, hey, looks like this fix did the trick. You know, despite everything else, when you're doing streaming mobile, you're gonna have problems. That's the way it is. You gotta expect them. But I was having way too many. There's a boat for sale. Anybody need a boat? No. Okay. All right. Thanks, Mark. Didn't drop. I'm encouraged right now. It's not to say my encouragement might not be met with disappointment within the next hour. That was an extended drop. That was an extended drop, and all of my connections were showing to be plenty good. Full scale, basically. Now I'm talking full scale on the bonding software. AT&T is at 2 bars right now, but it's showing that the connection on that is good. Verizon is full scale. But there was a hiccup right there, and everything was really good. So I don't know what could have possibly caused that. And that seemed like it was like, what, 10 to 15 seconds? I don't know if anybody noticed that. If you did, okay, it just did it again. That's weird. It's weird that it did it again, but the levels didn't change. Let's see, I don't know. I do have everything. Set primary, that's all good. Yeah, I saw that one, Mark. I sure did. The one before it just seemed to be like 10 to 15 seconds. So here's where my confusion is, and this is the question that I'm going to ask the engineers. Is, okay, I had I'm going to tell them, like, I had a 15-second freeze, I had a 4-second freeze, I had a 5-second freeze on my stream, but all the connections were showing to be in excellent health. So that may not be a product of their stuff. Could it have been a product of the land-based services or Starlink? Any one by itself, that just because you've got signal doesn't mean you have data, right? It's just, you know, data is kind of a different animal, so to speak. I mean, I've been in places where I had cellular service, but there was no data. You know, could it have been something like that? It could have been in that moment in time that it's renegotiating the throughput, the routing and everything to bring everything back up. It could be that. I'm not sure, but it could be that. All right, man. Appreciate you hanging in for a little bit. Those numbers help when I don't see something, when I don't see a freeze up, like I might have just had a brief one, but when I don't see, I got to keep an eye on the roads too, but when I don't see a freeze up on my indicator, I like to see green. I don't like to see red. So if I see red, that's not good. So that's where your comments come in handy, by telling me maybe I didn't see that particular moment in time. So if you see a freeze up, let me know what time it was in the comment. Say freeze up at, you have to convert to Central Time if you're not in Central Time Zone. It's an 11 a.m. hour of Central Time. And then when I go back and do playback, and I can note all these times, I'll correlate that with what I see on connection status, bonding connections status window. Even though I may miss one here every now and then, because not only do I have to look at a second screen to see this, I can't keep my eyes glued on that screen. I'm looking over at it about, when I'm not in traffic here, I'll look at it about every 2 or 3 seconds just to see what's going on. So that's where those little notes in chat or something would come in handy. And I know there's not enough probably watching to do that, but if you're there and you see it, please let me know. Now, moving forward, weather-wise, what do we got? We ain't got much of nothing. We really don't. There's nothing of interest to me. It's been a weird year. Actually going to try to spend some time in the Texas Panhandle dryline supercells here in a week or two maybe, but I just don't see us having a really good dry line out there this coming month. It really looks mixed out. Town here. It looks like we're sailing along pretty good. I just saw a quick Starlink hiccup right there, but it doesn't look like stream dropped, froze, or anything, so that's good. I'm going to say right now, this is definitely better than what I was encountering last week. And when I was streaming on Tuesday, it took me all of 2 minutes to say I'm not going to even use the bonding. I was going Starlink all alone, and I'll tell you what, okay, that happened on the left turn. We're still frozen. We had a hiccup right there on a left turn. Could that have possibly been Starlink renegotiating the change in orientation? Very possible. But if it's brief, it's okay. That was very brief. So I'm going to attribute that one at 11:23 to a sharp left turn, an abrupt sharp left turn, Starlink orientation changed, land-based carriers were fine, and that moment may have been the bonding system renegotiating throughput. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, with any notes that you can, comments that you can make, if you see anything, that's going to be helpful, because when I play this back, I'm going to have my own commentary too to add into that. so that I can make a document showing this is when it happened, this is what happened, this is what I saw, this is what the end user saw. So if there's anything that if there's anything that can be used out of all that information, we'll use it. But right now I am much happier than I was last week. Other beauty of this is that I'm not burning data from one carrier right now. I'm kind of sharing it between all of them. I think I made mention of that in the description. You may see a few leaves and little limbs laying along the side of the road here. I'm in Brenham, Texas right now. This is from Tuesday night's little MCS that came through here with some gusty winds and whatnot. That's the thing that I was just ahead of, that I was 2 minutes from home when it hit me, which was good. 383 fuel here. Well, if I'm still in town, I'm going to be here for a little while. I just want to keep moving. If you're not subscribed, if there's anybody here that's not subscribed, go ahead and do it. It's not going to cost you anything. But that's the only way you can comment. You got to subscribe. I had someone that made comment after comment after comment. I think it was Tuesday. And I just happened to see it, and I'm like, okay, that's unnecessary. Enough is enough. So I just removed it all. I didn't block the person or ban them, but I blocked it with all that gibberish. And I'll be honest, sometimes there's things that I do see when I do look at chat. There's things that I would like, I would like to remove them because what they're saying is not accurate. I'm kind of one of those kind of people that if I know you're wrong, I'm gonna usually say something. Because if you're saying something wrong and you tell the next guy and you tell the next guy, guess what? Everybody's spreading the wrong information around. Like one year I was at a convenience store. It's a place that, back when I had to still be taking one of my daughters to school and stuff, I'd stop at this store in the mornings after I'd dropped her off, and there was a group of, 8 to 10, sometimes 12 people. We would sit there at the store at the tables, and people would have their coffee, and we'd just chit-chat for like 30 minutes or an hour. And it was during this one situation. It was during hurricane season, and there was a system out in the Western Atlantic, and it definitely was going to become a hurricane, right? So one of the people asked me about it, and I said, well, that's a long way out, and I said it's still 10 days from even probably being in the Gulf. And then this guy says, well, it's not going to come into the Gulf. He said, no. He said, well, if it does come into the Gulf, it's not going to hit us here. And I said, how do you know that? He said, well, those things are steered by the Gulf Stream. Jaw drop moment for me. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I said, hurricanes aren't steered by the Gulf Stream. I said, do you know what the Gulf Stream is? He said, yeah, it's that current in the ocean that steers hurricanes. So I had to dig into the scientific side of that and explain to everybody how things really work. And the funny part of this is, in a way, is that this guy is like over 70 years old, or he might have been 70 years old at that time. And the thing is, this man has gone through his life believing that. And there's no telling how many other people he told that same thing. And if they were gullible enough to believe it, they believed it. And then they told somebody else, and then somebody else has told somebody else. Can you see how things can get blown way out of proportion with, you know, using wrong terminology and all these other things, and assuming you know what you're talking about and you don't know the fact that you really don't. I just feel like these are things that have to be corrected, because I don't like wrong information. Not that I've never put out some wrong information. You know, I forecast weather. I put out wrong information all the time. Ha ha. All right. Did anybody see anything? Anybody watching? Anybody see anything as I rode through some of the residential area? I had to keep my eyes on the road. You know, stop signs, other cars, other drivers. See other drivers that I don't trust. Okay, that's not working. I need to take my primary phone to a place. I think I need a new charging port on my primary phone. I'm going to go by a place here in a minute just for show and tell, because this is a test run, right? And I haven't heard back whether I'm going to be meeting for lunch yet. I may not get that answer until about now. But I'll show you a place up here. It's 11:30. I'm going to almost bet that when I come up to this place, you're going to find a line of cars. I hate it when my cup makes all noise in the background. You don't want to come to this place at 12 noon. But they do, oh man, they do bukus of business. Lunch, time, evening, and all it is a burger place. I mean, they have other things other than burgers. But this is it right here coming up on the left. You see the cars are already all the way out to the street for the drive-through. And that's nothing yet. It can be backed all the way up sometimes to this next intersection. And the thing is, you can get a hamburger, fries, and a drink there, and it costs you maybe 10 bucks. They're not way overpriced, but they're always busy. Did I turn that camera on? Yeah, I did. Okay. Okay, thank you for that comment. It's good to know. At least I know I didn't miss anything. So let me jump up on the main highway here. Let's get up here and find out what's going on. Now, if I don't have to meet for lunch, I will have to make a fuel stop while I'm up here too, but I think on my return path, I will probably take some remote back area roads just to continue to test this out. So far, so good. So far, so good. I can't explain the earlier issues in the last 30 to 40 minutes or whatever. 30 minutes, however long I've had this on. There have been hiccups, there have been glitches, but in a couple of those, or 3 or 4 of those instances, I think I had some proper reasoning as to why that occurred. Alright, I'm going to drive through the local junior college campus area. I wonder if that last message was ever read. Well, I'm not going to get an answer to that question that I texted here a few minutes ago. Well, the message has not been read yet. Anybody like flowers? Alright, this is an abrupt 90-degree change. Let's just see if it impacts Starlink. Doesn't look like it did. Yep, the airwaves are not a perfect world, that's for sure. We've got about 9 people riding along with me here while I do all this testing. I appreciate you being there. Again, if you aren't subscribed, go ahead and do it. Not that there's going to be any really good weather content coming up. I'm not seeing much. Doesn't mean there won't be something. Won't be a situation where I do get back out again, but this was necessary to test this today. But you have to subscribe for at least 1 minute to be able to comment. So if you would, that's fine. Again, it doesn't cost you anything to be a subscriber. And it's all about me just building this up, because I really, technically, this YouTube channel's actually doing the streaming to it and whatnot, so it's still an infant. It's still got to be built up. Had a drop. What time was that? I didn't see it. Is it like 2 minutes ago, maybe? And how long was it? Possibly, 2-3 seconds, maybe? 2-3 seconds I can live with. Okay, very short. Well, that's good. Thanks. That could have been a renegotiating software renegotiating the hardware what to do, and it could have been it was a Starlink hiccup, which didn't show up here. But when you change, see, satellite stuff is circular pattern, circular polarization. All right. So when I turn 90 degrees. A lot of times Starlink is going to say, oh, wait a minute, your head's backwards, or something, you know what I mean? And it has to figure that back out. So it may have been that. It may have been during that moment. So I'm going to chalk that one up to a not anything major. Could be one here too, because I'm kind of under a tree as I make this right turn. Okay, so I was just under a tree, so that's going to impact the Starlink a little bit. And I made a right turn, 90-degree right turn. Maybe it'll do it, maybe it won't. But if it did, or does, it is going to be, again, I think, because of the orientation and the renegotiation of all the input coming in. So. That road's closed. I can't even go that way. Now, that interruption right there, Starlink was telling me, the software was telling me that Starlink's quality went to really poor. could continue to occur because, as you can see, I've got trees overhanging a lot of these streets. So it went down there, but it came right back. And I'm looking at the quality stars here, and I can see that Starlink is, every time I go under a tree, it's going to come back to me and say, okay, I'm not 100% right now. I'm still encouraged. I'm still encouraged that this is working. If there's anybody new here, oh my Lord. I'm not going to take that road. I'm going to end up going back under some trees and stuff. So, probably going to have a few little issues here. I am encouraged, though, that the software update fix might have done some darn good. That'd be great. That'd be great. I'll be straight honest. I was worried about this because I honestly did not want to have to deal with a whole multi-hundreds of dollars change of equipment before next year. Just for connectivity. We're not even talking about cameras and everything else and switchers. We're talking about just connectivity alone. Because I would like to do the cameras different. I would really like to do something before next season, severe season comes around. I'll get back to you just a second, folks. Let me answer this. I'll meet you there. A lot of changes here. All right, so I do have confirmed lunch, so I'm going to be heading to that location right now for lunch. But I'm going to leave the stream going while I'm there. You can watch customers come in and out of this place. I don't know how the parking is. I don't know a whole lot about it. I know, and I'm already in town. Okay, this is just, hold on. Y'all bear with me, what a mess. Okay, so lunch is not confirmed. I may go eat there anyway, because I have not eaten anything today. But people rave about the barbecue sandwiches at this place, so I think I'm going to go check it out. And I'm going to get there maybe before the big crowd gets in. Okay, what was I even talking about? I don't even remember. I'm pretty good at mentally noting a lot of things, but all right. Yeah, I can think about, and I can make really good mental notes about a lot of the stuff that I'm trying to figure out today. But I lost my train of thought about what I was talking about before all these text messages. I said, yeah, let's meet there. No, I can't. It's hectic, so on and so forth. So, yeah, for whatever that's worth. Got me way off my train of thought. Oh, I think I was talking about the cameras. Okay. Sometimes it takes me a minute, but I usually come around. Sassy, thank you. Yeah, yeah. The camera side. Okay. Now I know earlier somebody said audio, something. Yeah, I'm not worried about audio. Audio is good enough. If I wanted to do better, I could, but that's like spending $200 to $400 on a nice shotgun mic, tying up another resource for an audio input. Um, yeah, the camera side of things, so that I can, get better views when I can't get a camera right now. There's times that I can't get the camera on the subject matter, and that's why I integrated a wireless remote camera this year, so that I could at least try to get it. If I don't have a camera that can get it, I'll try to get it. It might not be the best. That's pretty good quality on that camera, don't get me wrong, but it's so sensitive to movement. And anyway, if I went to a different camera system, and I actually had looked at some of the drawn up some plans and started looking for parts to be able to build me an external camera that I could control with a joystick in here to turn left and right and pan up and down. There's only so much you can do with the USB resources on any given computer. And a lot of this video input is coming in through the USB stuff. Powered USB hub back here, it's 8 ports, and in that you've got to have Wi-Fi dongles, you've got to have GPS input, you've got camera inputs. What else do I have? I'm sure there's something I'm missing. Well, you tax that stuff too much and you're not going to have really good results. You're going to have cameras freeze up, things like that. So to go to a different system, utilizing SDI, whatever the case may be, and I may be using the wrong terminology there, but all of that would be really costly. I'd have to make stuff go to HDMI, and just all kind of different things, converters and all kind of things there. So that could get pretty high in the $4-figure amount. Let's see if I can find this place. There it is. I see it, but I can't get over there. I'm gonna turn. I'm gonna make a couple of blocks, and I'm gonna come back to that location, and I'm gonna have me a barbecue sandwich. So yeah, there's always room for improvement, but the improvement that I would like to do is just going to cost so very much. We're definitely taking a ride through the residential side. You can see limbs and things laying on the ground from the MCS that came through here Tuesday night. Going under trees, all kind of good stuff here. So Starlink is not going to like this, and actually it's telling me. Yeah, it's telling me Starlink doesn't like this scenario here. Too many trees. But it's coming back. And the AT&T has dropped down to poor quality. Verizon and Starlink are back up. So as long as there's no major hiccups under these circumstances, I'm definitely on the side, leaning to the side of being a little more happy, I guess. And the fact that this stuff is working so much better than it did last week. I was about ready to pull the rest of my hair out last week, I swear. But Tuesday was definitely a decision maker when I went Starlink 100%. And the only time I had a hiccup was when Starlink had a hiccup, and that was it. So I know that that's Starlink to have hiccups on multiple carriers combined. Yeah, it had to be. So I'm glad these guys, within 24 hours of them telling me they found a bug, they sent me a link to download a patch, a fix. So far, I'm happy with it. So far. If anybody read the description, you'd understand why I like to bond. I like to have the connectivity, the backup. If something goes down, something else takes over. But I tell you what, I enjoyed Starlink the way it performed on Tuesday without any other data connections whatsoever, not using bonding. It was pretty good. Yeah, this is it. This is the barbecue place I'm going to. I'm told they've got a really good sandwich. They're 14 bucks, but I'm told it's a really good sandwich. So instead of leaving you with that boring view while I go in and have a sandwich, I'll leave you with a view of the establishment and the customers coming in. How about that? And I'll take this phone in here with me. I'm going to leave it running. So if you don't mind, just if you're watching this, it's going to be silent because I'm going to be out for a bit to eat. But so if you see a freeze up, a glitch, or anything like that, just go ahead and post the time you saw it. Like if something happened at 11:52, just say froze at 11:52 for 2 seconds. A 2-second freeze up, I can live with that. Let me have some food and I shall return. There'll probably be no one watching once I come back. I'll leave you with some music, but I don't think I can play music on YouTube. Yeah, not bad. I didn't eat it all either. I don't eat as much food as I used to. Tell you what, they put enough meat in that thing to make 2 sandwiches easy. Get my remote camera and get it handy. I might have something I'll do with that too today. Okay, thanks for that note. 6 more, okay, that would be my time, Eastern time, okay. 11:56, 12:04, 12:06, 12:08. What I don't like is that those were so close together. Like right now, it just did it. But that may be because I just got in and started the engine back up. Well, we got a couple of emergency vehicles heading down the highway here. Okay. AT&T connection says it's slow on the bonding. It also says that Verizon is slow. I think that's what it says. One thing I wish the fonts were bigger on that stuff, because it's a very small window I'm looking at. Well, it's gone now, but I can't look at it. It could be a factor of me being in a busier area. I mean, we all know there's only so much data to go around with all the users, general cell phone users and whatnot. All right, well, let's move about. I got to figure out which area I'm going. Let's see. I think that I'm going to go through town. I'm going to go out east, and I'm going to take the Farnham Market Highway. It's a little bit scenic down that way. Let's just travel. Let's do a little distance, and let's just keep watching the behavior of this. let's go through the downtown area. Brenham, Texas. That's where I am at the moment. Oh, this road is closed up ahead. I forgot about that. So I can't go through the downtown area going this direction. So we may have to bypass it. Going under trees, Starlink's not going to like that. Yeah, thank you for those timestamps, even though they're Eastern time. That's okay. Subtract 1. And you invited me to ask the question. If you're in Eastern time, where are you? Ohio. Okay. I've got a couple of friends up there. Loudonville. Can't remember the other. Anyway, yeah, I got a couple of friends that live up there. Different towns, of course. They do the. I think in August. I think it is. I know that one of them, and I'm sure the other one will be there. Got this big years ago, maybe 4. Actually met them at the National Storm Chaser Summit. Been on the staff of that for the last several years, and what I like to do at those things is I like to, when we have a break, or when we're through with all the programs, presentations, and everything else, is just hang around the bar, meet and greet type stuff, and I'm one of them kind of people that I like this one particular night that I met these 2 ladies, and there was another guy sitting there, whatever, I can't remember everybody, but I just sat down at the table with them, didn't know them, did the introductions, and then found that they had some questions that they wanted to ask from a professional, so about weather stuff, so I'm certainly up for that, and that's how we met, and we've stayed in touch ever since. I'm probably going to stop at one of the gas stations up here in about a mile. Go ahead and put a little fuel in the truck here. And then I'm going to proceed down the back roads to some degree. If I can ever get past this 3-way, which only has 1 stop sign. And it's in a location that you can't see to your right unless you pull out past where they tell you to stop. Okay, 1216. 1216. Okay, 5 seconds at 1216. 1216. I was going down that street with tree overhangs. Okay, I see that. Okay. It may have been a Starlink interruption because of the trees, and maybe that was that moment that it was renegotiating the routing. So, I mean, either way, this is so much better than, oh my gosh, I can't, I just can't get past how bad this was last week. I was just so frustrated. It's better now, though. I guess that's a plus, definitely a plus. Yeah, I'm gonna stop in over here and get me some fuel, and then we'll be traveling the road again. And of course, Starlink's gonna go down when I get under here. Now let's put about 10 gallons in here. That'll suffice. Well, that's not working. That pump is not, doesn't even want to read a card. Starlink is offline. Just for the record, yeah, Starlink is definitely offline, so we're just Verizon and AT&T.
Black Buffalo. Everything you love about dip. Nothing you don't. Save $7.50 per roll with loyalty.
Are you hearing the free advertisement at the gas pump?
Enjoy the new Buffalo Wild Wings chicken sticks for sleep. Tender, juicy, and bursting with bold, tangy, mouth-watering flavor. Share size. Tic Tac, Kinder Joy, and more. Rush inside to score 2 for $4.44.
Get any Celsius for $1.
That's enough. fly in here. Get out of here. Get out. All right, we'll see what happens now. Well, Starlink should come back and renegotiate. So I don't know if I'll be able to watch with all this traffic, but there may be a little bit of a hiccup freeze during this process. Try to watch. Try to watch as Starlink comes back online if I get one little red indicator. Okay, it's back. Did we have a hiccup? I'm not seeing one. I'm not seeing one. I haven't seen one. I haven't seen one yet. Yeah, I didn't see anything. I didn't see anything during that reacquisition phase. So that's a good thing. Now, it could have something to do with the fact that even the land-based data was in peak operating condition at that moment. I could see that possibly happening maybe when one of the other two connections is a little weaker, trying to carry the load. Like AT&T has dropped down to 2 stars. This is a 3-star system, so it's dropped down to 2 stars. 1.5 stars right now on the AT&T side. I'm still much more happy than I was last week. There is no doubt. Well, I am going to come up to a place here a few miles up the road that has some history to it. Independence, Texas. And I can at least show you some of the, oh yeah, AT&T has gone way down right now. Yeah, the quality's not real good right now. Anyway, I can show you some of the buildings and whatnot of the old structures from way back in the days of Texas independence, if you're interested in that kind of stuff. That's where I'm headed right now. And once I get there, it's a couple of options. I can either take you down into the Brazos River bottom, which is an area that has miles and miles and miles of rich farmland. Now, it's areas out there you expect signals to also, all of the signals to remain pretty constant. There's really no obstructions or anything out there. But this little stretch here is going to be kind of up and down some hills and things like that. And this is Highway 50 heading north out of the Brenham, Texas area. See, the stream's been going for what, 1.1 hour, about an hour and 45 minutes, I guess. Oh, this is so much better than what it was. matter of fact, when I get to these places, I may actually get out and you won't hear. I don't have that remote, that wireless camera set up to where I can carry the audio with me. And since I'm doing it on, I think I'm doing it on 5.8 gigahertz, I don't have great range away from the vehicle. I can't get away from the truck, but I just don't know how far I can get away from the truck. The fact that I can't carry audio with me is something that I would like to try to figure out futuristically. Like if I'm going to get out and I'm going to carry the wireless remote camera outside the truck, then I would like to take the audio with me. So if I could figure out a way to switch I'll have an audio switch programmed into my switching system here, Stream Deck switching system, and I could switch the audio to the remote device, take it with me. Wouldn't that be great? The one thing that I did not check after I did this update, the one thing I didn't check is whether I had the encryption still turned on, and maybe that's something I'll look at when I stop. Because in my encryption puts a load on CPUs, so my intent, well, what I did with the previous, before the fix was actually released, I tried running this with the encryption turned off, thinking maybe it was part of taxing CPU usage, really pushing it to the limit. So I turned that off, but I don't know is whether this update turned that back on. So I'm going to check that. My philosophy is this, when it comes to encryption on video of this nature on YouTube, is the fact that this is a public stream. Anybody can watch it. If there's anything of value in it, if somebody wanted to, basically steal a piece of video clip, well, I've got my name and stuff up in the corner. It's basically it's watermarked, and that's why I have it up there. So since this is a public stream, why do I really need to encrypt? See my point? I don't think it's necessary, but I will check that out. I will check that out at the next stop, and I'm going to get the remote camera going, and I'm going to hopefully be able to show you some of the old history structures that are up ahead. Now you've got a tower on the right and a tower on the left. It's AT&T, the other one's Verizon. And I should have full signal on both, and I do. As you can see, I'm going up and down hills, I'm going in between trees, and everything looks like it's doing okay. I had to go ahead and put my shades on because when I do that, it makes it a little harder to see these computer screens. But I'll tell you what, it's a sunny day. We're pretty much dominated with high pressure down here. It's not going to be any storms here today, but it's just bright. When you have blue eyes and brightness don't really get along real well. All right, this is Independence, Texas, and there's a place up here. See, I need to make a left turn. Baylor University historical site. downhill and we go up, and stuff I'll show you will be on the, I have to make a little right turn. I guess it's still here. Early Texas homes. Quit making noise, Cup. Kind of redone that. So here's some of the homes from the early days. Let me get the remote camera. Let's see if the remote camera is going to work. What kind of range I can get on it, but I got to turn it on first. So hold on, stand by. I don't know how much battery I have in this thing. Hopefully I have enough. There's one thing about this: you can't carry the cord with you. AT&T service is not good right now. Okay. I'm not gonna do that. Let's see if we can get this going. Starlink is having a little bit of a problem too. Alright, I should have remote camera. Let's see if we got it. We got it. Alright, hopefully I'll stay in range. We'll see. Okay, I got out of range. I got out of range. The thing is, the 5.8 that it connects to is under the back seat, so that range is going to be limited. So I don't know, I'm not sure where it dropped off. I think it dropped off when I got about 25, 30 feet away from the truck. Let's move a little bit here. Read you these if I can. All right, these historical markers. On the left, Dr. Horace G. Clark, July 7th, 1819 to February 10th, 1909. Born in Massachusetts, coming to Texas in 1850 with wife Martha Davis Clark. He was principal and second president of Baylor Female College. Mrs. Clark also taught and counseled students. Family operated dormitory on the site 20 years. Dr. Clark, with a $1,000 gift from Dr. Asa Hoxie, built 3-story main hall. He was ordained to ministry in 1858 at Independence Baptist Church. Family opened Clark's Academy, Houston, 1871. Dr. Clark took holy orders, 1880. Christ Episcopal Church, Houston, was a rector in Corpus Christi. Mrs. Clark, a lifelong Baptist, died in 1896. The sign on the right, the Davis family, renowned educators. Family of Reverend Abner Davis, founder, 1827, of Sutcliffe College, Alton, Illinois. A daughter, Martha, born 1896, I think that says. Joined the Baylor Female College staff with her husband, Horace Clark, in 1851. Baylor, in a few years, drew rest of family here. Marcia, Mrs. Abner Davis, 1794 to 1882. George B. Davis, 1828 to 1906. And wife Fanny Breedlove, 1833 to 1915. Harriet L. Davis, 1832 to 1917. And husband, B.S. Fitzgerald, 1827 to 1904. And Mary Russell Davis, Little Mary, as she was called apparently. Does not have a birth date, but died in 1865. Who taught Indians briefly after the father died in 1852. Then, like the others, devoted her talents to Baylor. Yeah, a little bit of history, There's no way I'm going to be able to read you what this stuff says on that. Couple of couples, does that make sense? Couple of couples out here having a picnic. All right, enough of that. This is going to be just about all of it for this little section through here. I don't remember if there's anything else around the corner. An old gas pump. Yep, old gas pump. Texaco gas pump, actually. Yeah. We'll take scenic Highway 390 back to the west. I'm definitely happy about how this is working. It's so much better, so much better. There was a hiccup, but it came back pretty quick. And I don't know why I had that hiccup. But it was brief. So I'm not going to concern myself. Note the time of that one, 12:45 Central. Yeah, I don't know why it did it then, but okay, just did it again. All right. What I'm seeing is fluctuations in my land-based services with Verizon and AT&T, and maybe that's that period of it renegotiating the networking. I mean, that's what it was doing every few seconds before it did got the update, and this is still much better. Still much better. Down again. 5 or 6 seconds maybe. Cell services, cellulars, land-based services are not that great here on AT&T at all. Verizon, when I look at the signal on that, it's not 100%, but it's 75% signal. Lost AT&T, and when I lost AT&T, it hiccuped right then. I still think this is the system renegotiating the path, so the networking path. I think that's what that is right there. AT&T is horrible here. It's even both devices only have 1 bar of signal through here. And on the health, I'm gonna call it the health screen. On the health screen, AT&T totally disappeared. Although I'm only using one AT&T connection in the bonding system at this time, so it's really, AT&T is really flaky, and I think that's a negotiation problem. It's not a problem really, it's just that it's going to have some interruptions when that occurs, I guess. But I also have to look at last week, and this is still so much better. See, once I got out of that area where I had, and I still have some trees that are overhanging the road here, which are going to affect everything, obviously, the trees on both sides. But I was going up and down hills, you know, up and down, you know, you're going to have signal issues in some of those areas. It's never going to be a perfect world out here trying to do mobile stuff, but try to get as close to it as humanly possible without breaking the bank. And even if you break the bank, you're still going to have an issue here and there. happy with the performance. I think generally I've got about another maybe 20 minutes. I'm going to keep this going. Just want to do a kind of a thorough test. I wanted to be sure to go through some areas that I knew there would be connectivity issues, especially concerning the land but now actually. I did see that little pause right there. That was an extended, I forgot to check the encryption. That was an extended pause right there. And that occurred when I lost AT&T when I came down that hill. I think it's a risk. I really do think it's got something to do with you get a poor or weaker connection. I think that's taking away. It's got to renegotiate the tools it has to work with, and I think that's why I get that. Like right now, AT&T just dropped. It didn't drop totally, but it dropped a lot. I only had 1 star, 1 out of 3, and it had a hiccup. Verizon is not up to par, and we just had another one. Same issues. Now the highway I came down earlier when I was heading south, when I first started streaming earlier, the highway basically runs parallel to with the road I'm on now. And this is an area that's notorious for bad services. So I almost expect failures. The only thing that I wish was better. AT&T is really poor. It's coming back up. This is connectivity related. There's no doubt in my mind about that. What I would like to see better is that if Starlink is hanging in there, which it is, I would like that fail-safe to switch over much quicker. That's what I would like. Instead of going through as much as I think I went through, like a 20-second long. And here we go again. I'm going to stop here for a moment. You're looking over Lake Somerville. All right, let me check. Okay, why did it do it just then? Could be area related. But still fail safe. I would like to see that kick in a little quicker. I'm going to do what I said I was going to do. I want to look close to the microphone, so I'll make it louder. Let's see. Let me go to my settings. Let me pull that up to the big screen. Oh no, I don't do it there. I got to pull my bonding window over. Put that on here, yeah. So Starlink, see, it tells me Starlink has a software install pending. Okay. Starlink's upload is not that great. That's weird. Okay, anyway, I'm going to do what I was sitting here to do. All right, I want to go look at, I've got to go find my, server, states, bonding mode, performance. Okay, encryption is still off. Okay, I wanted to make sure that encryption was still turned off. My DNS is automatic. Okay. Just wanted to make sure that was still off. I do see the upload speeds on all my different connections they're bouncing around a lot. According to this, they're bouncing around a lot. 956K down 1.5 megabits per second. That's not great. That's all I can do right now. I even think the stream is frozen right now. It's not red, but it's not getting through real well. Where is it? So much brightness and whatnot here that I was looking through and couldn't tell if that was yellow or green. I think it's green. Okay. Let's continue on. Starlink usually does its update if I shut it off, and then when I turn it back on, it does the update. think I'll just make my way back home right now. About 15 minutes. Go let my puppies out of the kennel. So we're looking really good. I'm up here in the dam. I've got good signals on it. I'm maxed out on AT&T. I am maxed out on Verizon. I'm not maxed out on AT&T actually. Yeah, I think a lot of that's still got to do with signal interruption and remapping. But I'm going to say it again for about the 10th time. This is way far better than last week. If I had not even done that update last week, it's just when I started. Now I've got a hiccup again. For whatever reason, I have a hiccup. The fact is, it's not a perfect solution. I mean, it's better. It's hard to be perfect with this. I almost think that I would probably be better off just using Starlink, period. But the reason I don't want to do that, one of them is if I get in enough rain and get enough satellite disruption, I lose Starlink. I like to still at least have the land-based stuff available to keep streams going, keep data coming in as well. And if they're bad, then, you know, you can only work with the tools you have available at that moment. And the other reason is because I want to be able to the data that I burn doing this, which runs into a few $100 every month, they do have limits. Well, I do have them limited on one, but there are limitations, and I know that even if unlimited, it's going to get throttled, especially if I go over the limit. So I like to keep all of those going, have them available, and not burn the data on one, but burn some data, not burn a lot of data on one, but burn a little data on all of them. That's how you make it stretch month to month. So I don't know how much data I burned on Tuesday when I ran Starlink 99.5% of the time. Only Starlink. That was it, and it performed really well. Definitely noticed a few stream interruptions, even just using the Starlink, but they typically were occurring when I made those 90-degree right turns rather abruptly. You know, you're changing the dish orientation drastically in a matter of 2-3 seconds. Or you got under something that was obstructing it or something like that. You know, that's life with satellite, right? Just like anybody that has satellite television, you get heavy enough rain and whatnot, you know you're going to lose it. So there's the reasoning behind that. And the only thing that I wish that the bonding was doing is if it was the failsafe was faster. I don't know how much faster you can make it. Oh, you genius. You better be turning in here. Hopefully all of that made sense. One thing that I may add eventually, and this is not going to be any huge task or anything, but sometimes when I'm looking at some of the surface observations and different things. I may be looking at a couple of different convective allowing models. I may be looking at the 500 millibar winds and where it's at that moment, where it's going to be 3 hours from now, what that's going to look like, and a whole bunch of different things, dew points, different things like that. And then as I'm looking at these things, the viewers can all that I'm making. The only thing that I couldn't show is like my mapping theories, because my mapping is done on an iPad, standalone, connected to singular connection, connected to Starlink, or it may be connected to AT&T Wi-Fi, or maybe connected to Verizon Wi-Fi, whatever I choose. And that's just so that my maps stay updated. And I've also got live traffic on there, so I'll know if there's a road that has a traffic issue, stoppage, really slow moving, whatever. It really comes in handy to have that. That's the one screen I wouldn't be able to share because it's on a different device. But generally speaking, I'll be able to show you the day-to-day operations of some of the things that I'll look at when I'm out doing weather coverage. I would say I could show you with the National Weather Service chat stuff, but I can't do that to the public. It's not that's a government thing, all right? You can't, not everybody can have that. Meteorologists, media, emergency managers, things like that. That's who can be on there. So I couldn't show you what they're saying, but I could kind of maybe talk about what they're saying. But I don't use the chat system really to get information. I do my own forecasts. Figure it out for myself. Sometimes I will go and look at it just to see if there's confirmation of something. Has this been confirmed by anyone? Because I don't clutter my radar screen up with all the locations of all the other. And don't take this the wrong way. Children through adults. I don't care where everybody else is. I don't care. I only care about what I'm doing, where I'm at, and that I'm doing it safely. That's all that matters. So I don't clutter my screen up with all those little dots and locations and all that mess, because it's totally irrelevant to me. And I don't clutter my screen up with all these what they call spotter network reports. I don't clutter it up with all that. Sometimes and I learned this from way back. And I haven't looked at that kind of stuff in a very, very, very long time. Maybe I've turned it on once or twice, that's it, in the last 2 or 3 years. But, somebody would report through the spotter network thing. They would report a wall cloud. Okay, it doesn't matter. A lot of storms make wall clouds. What we need to know is it rotating. All right? Even a summer storm, just a summer general pop-up thunderstorm can have a wall cloud on it, but it's not rotating, it's irrelevant. Sometimes people they reported a tornado there. I can give an example. One time, me and 20 other people looking at the same storm from the same vantage point, but somebody reports a tornado. The 23rd person reports a tornado. The other 22 like, there's no tornado here. So I take a lot of that with a grain of salt. So that's why I don't even have it turned on. Only thing I want to see on my radar screen is the radar. Been able to switch or dual pane, do whatever I want to do, look at velocities. And many times I look at velocities on a different device because I can do high resolution even better. I just want to see the storm on my radar, and I want to see my location, which is constantly on there with a white dot with a white circle around the white dot. You know where I am in relation to the storm, and where my major highways are also overlaid on that. It's the minor, smaller roads that I like to use the mapping for, because I can look in at much greater detail to see the little farmer market highways and things like that. To see a county road. Where does this county road take me? I can look at the second device and look at the iPad and figure that out for myself. And then sometimes you just ask, I'm not going to say it because my phone would react to it, you just ask SIRI. Especially when you need to keep your eyes looking out the window. Particularly in a situation where you have a tornadic storm or something of danger, you'd be looking out the window, you don't be looking at the map that much. So I keep it clean. I'll look at it and see what I need to see, and nothing else matters. Maybe I don't get a lot of attention because I'm not one of the people that enjoys driving into big hail cores and getting hammered by hail, getting into situations where I'm busting out windows and things like that. If that's what somebody wants to do, more power to them. It's money out of your pocket to fix it all. Well, I'm a couple of county road stretches from actually being back home, and I'm going to sit down and jot down some notes, put together some information, and I'm going to send it back to my engineers and tell them that they're definitely on the right track. This was a huge improvement. Huge. What I have found today I can live with. But right now AT&T's 1.5 stars out of 3. Verizon is 3 stars, Starlink is 3 stars. We're holding in there pretty well. Glitches are going to happen in the world of mobile streaming. I don't care what you have, what you're using, how much money you've spent. There's always going to be an issue here and there. It's just part of it. When you have the kind of issues like I had last week, and especially like Tuesday, when I started out streaming Tuesday from Southwest Texas, I immediately, within 2 minutes, knew this is not going to work, and that's why I just turned it all off. And I turned off my data for AT&T, Verizon. I just turned everything off and just left Starlink running solo, and had a good day data-wise, and actually a pretty good day storm-wise. Almost had a tornado Tuesday. Had a good tight spin going on, but it just never could translate to the ground. 5, 6, about a 6 or 7 second hiccup right there. Now, I just noticed on the playback, it didn't really freeze up. It just hop skipped right to where it came back online. So that's not terrible. I can live with that. Why'd I have a hiccup right there? I don't know. Services were good enough that I can't blame it on services. Let's see, I'm going by a place here. I wonder if any of the wildlife are out. They're probably all staying in the shade today. No, there's a couple. There's a few of them up here with these axis deer. I'll show you a couple of them. Let's see if I can zoom this boy in. Excuse the dot. That's where my windshield got hit. I don't know how good this zoom level is going to be. Yeah, that's where my windshield got hit, so that's maybe some more in this next opening pasture. Got some big ones. Big boys over here. See if I can get in on him or her, whatever. Oops, too high. There you go. There's 5 of them. Simple. Uh-oh. You did it right there. Why? I've shown you a simple road trip with stop at a barbecue joint, me stopping at a convenience store, me stopping at a bank, yeah, historical site, a few pieces of wildlife, some back roads, all for the purpose of me to test this out, which has now gone into the neighborhood of over 2.5 hours. I hear a lawnmower behind me somewhere. Yeah. All right, so this is going to be at the end of the road here. I'm going to spend the next hour once I get everything shut down and let my dogs out to go poop and pee and all that good stuff, and spend the next hour putting everything together and sending a detailed report of this 2 hour, roughly 40 minutes or whatever of streaming, and when things happened and why. Well, not why, because I'm not going to be 100% sure why, but when they happened, what I was seeing as far as individual data services are concerned. All right, good enough. Well, thanks to the few that were here, and thanks to those that actually had a little input on timestamping some of these things that did occur. We say fun adventure stream. Pet those good doggies. Yeah, I'm gonna pet those doggies. Yeah, I'd leave it going and show you my doggies, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. Well, I can show you this. You see all those towers right there? That's mine. I'm an extra class amateur radio operator. I love doing Morse code. This big taller tower that I can't even get in full screen right here, right side, that has a couple of my radio antennas on it, but up top, that's the one that I get my internet from. So I've got hardwired internet into the house from that ISP, and anyway, I can't even get all the towers on here, but I got a squirrel. Hold on, let's do more wildlife. Goes a squirrel. Where's he going? He's right beside me now. If I have a remote camera, I'd give you a good squirrel shot. How about that? So yeah, there you go. This is you're looking at all my property here. So we actually had a failure. AT&T dropped drastically. AT&T dropped drastically, and it renegotiated the connections. And okay, I'm gonna still say that that's negotiation of. Okay, I've said it enough. All right, end of the road. Thanks for riding along. Thanks for all the help, and hopefully I'll get some weather to stream. But I don't see any on the horizon unless I decide to drive all the way to the Texas Panhandle tomorrow. And even then, it's going to be highly questionable, I think. So thanks again. Enjoy your day.